everybody, it's Queen of Light 1111 and welcome back to Step Into the Light with Queen of Light and
Sunena.
All right. So for those of you who have been joining us, thank you. Thank you for being a part of our following here on our podcast. And as a reminder, if any of you are interested in a personal coaching session, healing session, or a reading, go to queenoflight1111.com and I would be happy to work with you.
So for this week's episode, we're going to be talking about gratitude and how to practice gratitude in these hard times.
Yes, and it's such the appropriate time to do that, right? It's November, Thanksgiving is coming, and not only because of that, but just because of everything we've gone through the last,
few months.
8 months, right?
Yeah.
Since March. So COVID, as all of you know, across the world, since a lot of our listeners and viewers are from across the globe, COVID has affected every single one of us. It's been difficult for a lot of us, our mental health, emotional health. A lot of those different areas have declined for a lot of people. And even, familial relationships have been stressed during those times because we've all been so busy in the past going to work or going to school. Now we were in this environment where we were stuck at home. We were stuck at home and now having to deal with a new normal. And because of this, we've seen, suicide rates go up, unfortunately, right?
Yeah.
I mean, suicide rates, addictions increase. We've had divorces, people breaking up. It's really been difficult to sit around and to hear about these things, whether on the news or hearing about it from our friends,
Right.
just how everyone is suffering. And so Sunena and I sat down and we thought that today, for this episode, we really wanted to focus on how to stay in a state of gratitude towards these times. Because this isn't just one of the times, right? Other things are going to happen. We have, a lot of things that are going on in this world that are going to continue to challenge us. That is just life, right?
Right.
So we wanted to talk about some things that we can do. And we have 5 steps of achieving gratitude and how to stay in gratitude that we want to cover. But let's talk a little bit, Sunena, just about, kind of our own personal ways that we have tried to stay in gratitude during this time.
So something that I like to do is I like to go over everything in my life that I'm grateful for, whether that's a family member, a friend,
Mm-hmm.
or even just like having my own room.
Mm-hmm.
Just remember all the little things in your life that you're grateful for. And going over those things, even in the midst of a struggle in your life, will really uplift your emotions and just make you feel like you're in a better place mentally.
Right. I think that what you said, that what really is also important about what you just said is those little things, right? So, most of us are typically grateful for the people in our lives, or maybe we're not. Maybe we are taking them for granted sometimes if we're seeing them often.
Yeah.
But like the little things, right? And we talked about this in one of our prior episodes, was like, air. Smelling fresh air with all of the fires that were going on in addition to this virus. Because we're in California, it was just like these things that we've taken for granted. So being in a place of gratitude for the little things, the big things, it's all very important. So for me specifically, gratitude is something that I really try to incorporate into my life daily. Like daily, sometimes even by the hour, depending on what the energies are, especially for the work that I do, right?
Yeah.
So if I've been doing a lot of healing and it's been a drain or whatever, I always like to tap into my core, to the things that I'm very, very grateful for. And for me, I think a lot of people take parents for granted. I really, really feel that. I feel that a lot of people, and listen, I'm not, there are familial relationships that are strained. I think there's also relationships with family members that are very distant, but I think that as a whole, and I get those where you might be distant from a family member. So if it's not your parent, think about that person, okay? Or those people that are there for you often, that you're seeing all the time, that maybe you're not, that you take it for granted because they're always there and they're always in front of you, right?
Exactly.
And so I'm going to just use the example of my parents for me, right? I see them all the time. And so when I was younger, you see them all the time. You're living there. Maybe when you're younger, you're living at home, and you just forget how special that relationship is until you're forced to recognize it, right? So that was a big lesson for me. My father wasn't feeling well. Unfortunately, he went through, had some cardiac issues, and also had a stroke. And I've always been very grateful for both of my parents, always. But there were many times where, just so used to always being around them and maybe didn't have that deep appreciation that I should have. And it's unfortunate that sometimes those things happen where a family member gets sick, that you're like, hold on a second, I have to reset the way that I'm looking at this, right? And so I'm telling you now, and it's been several years since my father was ill, and he's on the mend, thank God, and my mom is in good health, thank God. But there's not a day that goes by that I don't tell them that I love them or that I appreciate them, because I just don't want to ever have to be in that energy of like, this was someone who was in front of me all the time and I didn't take that minute to be in gratitude for that person, you know what I mean? For that energy, for that life. And so for me, what I incorporate daily is just that's my core. Those are my people. And so I have this huge sense of gratitude. So if I'm feeling depleted, or if I'm feeling, some type of way that is, a vibration that is the highest, I go back to the gratitude of, I'm so lucky to have two very loving, supportive parents who really supported me in everything that I've done, whether it's corporate career or even the spiritual career, which is like on two ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
So that's where I go to when I go to my grounding, when I ground myself and I'm looking for the things that I'm grateful for. Yes, I'm grateful for the roof over my head, the food, the work that I'm doing, but my foundation, part of that foundation is my love and gratitude for my parents.
Right. And I'm really glad that you mentioned that, because I think that when it comes to practicing gratitude, it's really important to kind of acknowledge the things that you take for granted in your life, like the people that you love and everything that you have. And when you do acknowledge that you have a lot to be grateful for, it shifts your perspective from maybe being in a place where you're like, my life is a mess, I don't have my life isn't what I want it to be, to I have so much to be grateful for.
Right. Right.
It shifts your perspective, and that's really important when it comes to mental health.
Exactly. And even like having this conversation right now, so like when we're talking about this, isn't that also helpful in putting you in a state of gratitude?
Yes.
So not only just acknowledging it, but sometimes speaking it out loud to somebody, that I'm grateful for this or I'm grateful for that. Whether it's like, hey, me being your aunt, I was grateful for that tuna sandwich you just made me. That was like bomb, right? But like having that conversation about what makes you grateful. I think also, like when I tell my parents, like, or like if you have communicated your gratitude of people?
I try to.
Yeah. So when you do that, what kind of feeling do you get, and what do you see in that person that you've expressed your gratitude to?
Well, it depends on who it is. Like, if I'm looking at you, I can feel that, like, you love me and I love you because we've always been so close my whole life, and I know that you're always going to be there for me. So when I do feel those things, I think telling you is great, because it's an affirmation that I'm saying out loud, and it's also something that you're taking it.
Exactly. It's that energy exchange, right?
Yeah.
So, like, how do you feel when you express it? And then I'm going to tell you how I feel. How do you feel when you express your gratitude for having this relationship?
It makes me feel good.
Yeah, do you feel like warm inside and like I don't know, like you just had that hot cup of chocolate on a rainy day and it's Christmas, right?
Yeah.
When you tell me that you're grateful for me, like I even get kind of choked up now, talking about it. It is just like when you say that you're grateful, I already know that you are because I like feel that, but when you say it, like there's something that like really, really deep touches my heart that I'm just like, God, I've made an impact in a positive way. That's what it really is. And I feel like that even like when I'm working with clients is that when they're expressing their gratitude at the end of a session, I sometimes I get a little choked up because they're so grateful. And I feel that. And that energy exchange is like amazing. And if we could have more of that energy in these tough times, imagine the light that would come out of this. Right? Like the like high vibration that would come out of this.
Yeah.
So I think expression is super important. And I also think another way to show gratitude is like when you're like, say for example, again, using our relationship, so you're grateful for me, I'm grateful for you, I've made an impact. Then going out and taking that energy and sharing it with someone else, whether it's in the form of a mission or just helping a friend, right?
Yeah.
It's like, don't you get fueled by that gratitude?
Totally. It makes such a huge difference. Like, and I speak from like personal experience. Like when you're in a state of mind where you're just like kind of self-loathing and you're like, why is my life what it is?
Right.
It makes such a huge difference to just remember everything in your life that is good.
Right.
Everything in your life that lifts you up, the people in your life that are there for you no matter what. And that sometimes is all you need to keep going.
Right.
It's huge.
Because just saying those simple things, whether you're saying it in your head or whether you're writing it down or whether you're expressing it, you're sending energy out. Okay? So you're sending energy out. So whether it's the universe receiving the energy to bring you back more, right? Law of attraction, more of what you would be grateful for, or you're exchanging that energy with another person where that now, wow, they're uplifted because you've shown some appreciation and gratitude, and now they're going to go pay it forward somewhere.
I think just spreading
just
that
a snowball.
Spreading that positivity makes such a huge difference.
Exactly.
In not only your life, but their life too. When you express to someone that you're grateful that they're in your life.
Exactly.
You're just spreading kindness and positivity.
Right. And I think that's awesome with people. I think for those of you who are listening, take the time, identify like who you're grateful for, why you're grateful, and then tell them. Tell them. It will make such a huge difference in your life and in theirs. And then it just starts this snowball effect where they touch other people, etc. And so, and it doesn't even have to be just people. If it's like, I'm grateful for, I have a treadmill in my room that I couldn't go to the gym, so I was able to work out at home. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm laughing right now because the treadmill's sitting here and I didn't work out while I was at home. But anyway, but I could. I mean, I have the option, right?
Exactly, yeah.
But it's like simple things. I'm grateful for that my tea was strong and super tasty today. Like, little things like that. Whatever it is.
It's the little things that add up.
Exactly. Be grateful. So we always like to leave you with some way to apply this conversation, this topic into your life. So there is this professor at the University of Washington who's listed some very simple steps on how to be grateful in these difficult times. So a lot of it is what Sunita and I actually just talked about, okay? Number 1, put your gratitude on paper. If you have a gratitude journal, any journal, just make it simple. Write 3 things. 3 things, whether it's 3 people, 3 things, 3 reasons why you are grateful for something or someone. That's number 1. Number 2, have that gratitude conversation that we just had. Like Sunita and I just had it, and you saw just in this like a few minutes when she expressed her gratitude again, like she's always very grateful, but it made another impact on me. Whether she says it 100 times or one time, it doesn't matter. It has a deep effect on someone. So tell those people or person in your life why you're grateful. Why you're grateful for them, because it's going to affect them in a positive way. Okay, have that conversation with that person. Then, just in general, if you're just conversing in any conversation, there should be an incorporation of gratitude. Grateful to be able to see you today.
Yeah.
Grateful to have this meal today. Glad we were able to get out and it's sunny and we could take a walk. Right? Incorporate gratitude into your conversation. So those are two different things, right? So there's that. The number one was about putting the gratitude on paper. The second one was about telling the person that you appreciate them. And then 3 was just incorporate, instead of, talking about the Hollywood headlines or what the latest news is or whatever, incorporate gratitude into the conversation. Number 4, pay it forward. When you show your gratitude to someone, just like I just told, what Sunaina and I just talked about, when you show your gratitude to some person, that uplifts that person's energy. And then that person will then impact another person positively because you did something and now they are doing something and you're all paying it forward. And then number 5, reflect and repeat. That's like shampooing and conditioning. Rinse and repeat, right? Reflect, repeat. Repeat the exercise. Make gratitude a part of your 24-hour day, okay? There's another thing that I want to impart in this gratitude is that people are like, oh, I have a long life and I'll do this when I'm tomorrow. I'll do this in 3 weeks from now. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow is not promised to anybody. In fact, the next minute, the next hour, the end of the day is not promised to anybody. Do not give up the opportunity to express your gratitude or your love for someone or something. Do not be greedy or stingy with the time, because time is not yours, okay? We don't know about time, okay? It's a gift to us and we don't know how long this gift will last. So what I want to close with is, don't be stingy with the gift of love or gratitude. Express it, and express it when you're feeling it. Don't wait for, I'll tell them at Christmas. I'll say thanks at Thanksgiving. No, do it. Seize the day, seize the moment, because it's not about how young you are, how old you are. It doesn't even matter at that point. This is all irrelevant. It's about seizing the day now, seizing the moment now, and expressing the gratitude now. Okay? Do you have anything to add to that before we close?
I just think that practicing gratitude is something that you can do. It's so easy. Mm-hmm. And it can make such a huge difference in your life.
For sure.
So just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
And it takes practice too. And if you do practice gratitude every day, it's gonna just completely change the way that you think about your life.
And when you practice it, at first it's practice, right? Because if you're not doing it all the time, it's practice.
Yeah.
But then it just becomes a part of your day, a part of what you're doing. It's natural. It'll just be natural.
It'll come naturally too.
Exactly. So you heard it from Sunaina. Just do it, and it'll be natural. And we thank all of you for joining us on our podcast journey here. And we hope that you've been enjoying our podcasts and our discussions. And join us again the next week, next Friday, for another episode of
Step into the Light.
All right. Have a good day, everybody.